YouTube, you asked me for it. Some of you even begged me for it. Air, give us Orion. I mean Mel Gibson. No, I mean Orion. Yeah, not Mel Gibson. So I got a Wood Elves versus Vampires. There's some Deepwood Scouts with Swift Shiver Shards. I have to say that slowly. It's a mess. And they've forward deployed, but the Vampire Counts also had Dire Wolves forward deployed, and Dire Wolves do amazingly good versus these expensive archers. I mean, personally, I'd like to see units as expensive as Deepwood Scouts. I'd like to see them be a little bit more survivable against extremely light cavalry like this. But I guess maybe that's part of the risk reward, right? Even Way Watchers, you pay 1,200 for them or whatever it is, and they are still just as fragile. So it seems like it's hard to ever get the reward out of this risk reward type of unit, which tells me that it's probably a little bit on the weak side. I mean, again, the spend on these Dire Wolves is like, what, 500? Oh man, paid dividends right here. Ruined 2 units of Deepwood Scouts, essentially. So we got a Blood Knight. The main army here is several, or it looks like 2 Tree Kin, a Ancient Tree Man, and then Orion, up against a couple of Cryptors, some Spears, a Graveguard with great weapons, which I would normally say are a not so smart pick versus the Elves, but they'll actually be somewhat handy against the heavily armored Tree Kin, so not a bad choice. The Dragon back here from the Elves, not a unit you see a lot of. The Dragon's actually not great, but in certain scenarios can be fairly useful. And here, I think with the combination of the Lore of Life Spellcaster, they're hoping to get more horsepower out of the Dragon. Essentially make it last longer and do more damage. You can see that knight there who fell off his steed. It's because they're being hunted by the Waystalker here, who's sitting off in the distance, firing his magic arrows into the Blood Knights. Actually doing pretty decent damage. Orion is just kind of standing around watching the battle, deciding, kind of thinking about who I'm gonna kill, how I'm gonna kill him, and then how many times I'm gonna kill him. Yeah, so I mean, Orion's really thinking about this one. I guess that maybe he was supposed to be throwing a spear and he gets blocked or something. It says he's firing, so I'm not really sure what's going on. But yeah, in any case, he was standing around a lot. The Vampires having some success in the melee here, but not entirely. So I mean, the Tree Kin are holding out fairly strong, and the Ancient Tree Man is definitely going to do well against blobs of Vampire Infantry. The Dragon here actually manages to do a ton of damage to the Blood Knights with the help of Orion and the Spell Singer, but then the Blood Knights pull out of the fight and try and help these zombies in rear attacking the Eternal Guard that's holding the main line. Dragon's gonna pursue them. The Dragon causes nice armor-piercing damage, but he's a large target with fairly low armor, which means the Blood Knights are going to do considerable damage in return. But since the Blood Knights are so damaged, who knows? Orion's gonna huck a spear here. Woo! What a shot, too. Took that guy right off his horse. That's pretty sweet looking. I love it when Orion hammers people with the spear that he throws. It's pretty sweet looking. It really is. Let's see what he does here. Let's see if he's gonna get another throw. Come on, Orion. Do it. Dragon's coming over to lick him, kind of like a dog or something, I guess. Nah, it looks like the Blood Knights are pursuing the Dragon. Orion's gonna be used to stop him. Orion has big armor piercing. His main downside is that he has hardly any armor. So he's got a lot of hit points, but he has very little armor. So a lot of people ask, like, oh, why don't people use Orion more? He's so he's really good at killing stuff. I mean, he's strong. He's got absurd weapon damage, and his throwing weapon is also very powerful. And his legendary items are pretty good. Or his legendary item, the Horn of the Hunt, it really isn't that bad either. I mean, it makes your units faster with more charge damage. It's pretty fun to use. In the campaign, Orion is an absurdly beastly unit, because you can upgrade him far beyond what you can in multiplayer. I mean, he is a good unit overall. He's definitely not on a list of what I would consider to be like trashy lords. He's not quite as used as like the Glady is, because the Glady has like the net ability. And I think when you take the net ability and her flexibility between flying and on foot, I think that's why people tend to pick the Glady more than Orion. And Orion hasn't done a ton in this battle, but he's already racked up 52 kills just from throwing spears and stuff. So, I mean, obviously the guy has potential. The Deepwood Scouts actually came back from routing and are now actually having a pretty solid impact on the battle. Because remember, their Swift Shiver Shards do some pretty nice, or they're magical damage, but they do pretty solid missile damage at 37. So, yeah, Orion, again, I'm not really sure why he's being kept back from the fight at this point. Maybe just to keep him safe and to throw stuff. Because he just got a spear off on the Cryptors there, so it may just be the player trying to use up. Yeah, they've used up all of his ammunition now at this point, so that's what they were trying to do with Orion. And they picked up 71 kills, so he definitely hasn't been inactive in the fight. And you can see his ability coming in here, too, and it's going to pick up more kills, up to 94 now between the bombardment and the hounds. So Orion's gotten a lot of kills without even having to be too involved in the combat, which does go to show that he certainly has certain uses. I think against armies where you might expect infantry to be blobbed up, I think Orion's going to be quite good. His bombardment and hound's ability is very solid in terms of the damage that it does to blobbed up infantry. And then Orion has excellent armor piercing damage, both on his ranged weapon and his melee weapon. The thing, like I said, you have to be careful of is that he doesn't have much armor. So if the right units get a hold of him, they can kill him very quickly. I think he's best supported by a Branch Wraith or a Spellsinger Lore of Life, which is exactly what's been done here. He has a lot of hit points, which means he can heal a lot of hit points. So again, that's another benefit to Orion. So he can definitely be a good Lord. So definitely has his use. Like I said, his spear that he throws around is a seriously powerful thing. Now there's a fun part at the end of this battle that I kind of want you to see. The vampires and the treekin are kind of finishing up a fight here. This army was led by actually Vladidaddy von Karstein, and he's got a White King supporting him. So here's Vladidaddy, and he's like, all right, I've had enough of this. I'm going to go teach this basically living tree god who's the boss. And check out these levitating rocks here. Well done. Check that out. That's what happens when Vladidaddy charges against Orion. I like how Orion's bragging about it too, and then Vlad like hits him in the back. The White King comes in. Vlad don't fight fair. I like how he's hitting Orion. Orion's not going anywhere, and then he's like, hey Vlad, why don't you eat a throwing spear to the face there, ugly? And now all the treekin and stuff are here too, so Vlad is definitely in trouble. Despite his ability to heal, Orion puts down some massive weapon damage, and so Vlad is definitely feeling it. Definitely feeling it. And so yeah, you can see here he's going to do great. He's got 143 kills, by the way, Orion, and a lot of that came at the end with his magic, where he continued to kill enemy infantry with the magic abilities that he has. So again, a lot of flexibility on Orion. He can hurt units from range, and he can hurt units in melee, and he's also very fast. Orion is very quick for a unit that's not on a mount. So speed is not a huge limiting factor for him. I mean, cavalry or monster units are definitely faster than him, but he is a fast unit nonetheless. And here at the end, the vampire player is going to spawn up a ton of zombies in an attempt to try and help Vlad tank out some of this damage, but zombies ain't no matter for Orion. Not going to matter one bit. He's gonna kill a ton of zombies too. Look at that, just throwing the spear point blank. 146 kills on Orion. Vladidaddy is hurting pretty bad, but now he's starting to do some pretty good damage to Orion because he used the Master of Beguilement. But check it out, the Ancient Tree Man comes around and wants to take it out on Vlad, because apparently Vlad's undead ancestors were chopping down the forest to make shields or some other coffins or who knows what. And the Ancient Tree Man is not happy about it. This is so cool. This game's beautiful. I can't wait for Warhammer 2. It's going to be freaking awesome. Hey, speaking of which, if some of you were upset about the announcement being Warhammer 2 instead of a historical title, Creative Assembly put out an announcement today. And it's funny, I posted a tweet about it, and then someone responded to my tweet, and they're like, so basically they told us nothing, and they were still all mad. It's like, dude, calm down. Like, and this may get some of you mad at me, and I'm not saying it to get you mad at me or to be, like, controversial or something. Look, I like historical Total Wars too. I'm excited about the next one. I also like Warhammer, so clearly I'm excited about the announcement of Warhammer 2. And I'm not all that worried about when the next historical title comes out. I personally said that my reasoning is because I think that Creative Assembly is ready to release a Warhammer 2, whereas they're not really ready to release their next historical title because they had so much work left to do after many disappointments in Rome 2 and Attila. So I'm actually personally very excited that it's Warhammer 2. Now, for those of you who are upset about it, again, that would be my advice. calm down. It's okay. I mean, I really think this is a good thing for you in the end. It's like the guy who responded to my tweet. I'm not trying to be mean or anything, and I'm just saying, like, he responded kind of mad that, like, Creative Assembly didn't give, like, a whole bunch of details. They just reiterated, hey, look, we're working on it. The next historical title is in full development. And they even said so much as, hey, we're researching whether or not we can deliver content before it comes out on another older game. So basically what they're saying is, hey, we may add either DLC or standalone to one of the existing historical games in order to kind of tide people over. That's a pretty big commitment from the Creative Assembly in the sense that they don't have to do that. They can release these games when they choose to, and they have whole separate teams working on historical titles, so if you're a fan of the historical series of Total War, because that's what the game has been, I wouldn't be worried. In fact, I think good things are happening right now. I think that the Creative Assembly has learned a lot of things from Warhammer, and they're probably going to try and implement some of the good things that they learned from Warhammer. I'm sure they're not going to go in and replace the way a historical Total War works with like the way that Warhammer works in its entirety, but I think that they can implement a lot of good things learned and really release an extremely solid product. So if I were you, I would hang in there. I'm guessing by the end of this year, or closer to the, mid-year at least, we'll probably hear an announcement on what's going to happen with the next Total War historical title. But I'm guessing that it won't come out until at least next year. That's my guess. It kind of depends. A game in full development could mean a lot of things. It could mean it's not terribly far down the road, but it also could mean if they're on the beginning end of that full development, it could still be a while. But anyway, hang in there. That's all I'm saying. No need to freak out. You're still going to get lots of fun Total War stuff, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if they come out with some kind of DLC, or as they said, some kind of standalone thing just to kind of fill in the gap, because clearly they understand that a lot of people want some type of historical release, and when people want something that they're willing to pay money for, the free market tends to respond. So I'm assuming that Creative Assembly is going to work pretty hard to put out a product that they think people are going to pay money for in the interim before they can sell the next Total War historical title in its full. Anyway, hey, appreciate this being sent in here by Evaniel, and then Intrepido here, we'll call him. So appreciate the replay. It was fun watching the vampires versus the Wood Elves. I tried to make this one a little more cinematic, stayed zoomed in a little more. I won't do it on every one. And this was mainly just to give you all who have been wishing for some Orion action, to try and give you some good Orion action in a fun Wood Elves versus vampire fight. Hey, Air showed the vampires losing, right? I love all the comments, I really do. At first it's like all the serious comments like, the vampires always win, and now people just make like all kinds of funny comments like, Air never shows his losses, or Air never shows his wins, or Air never shows his draws, or Air never shows, I don't know, it's great. It really is, it's funny. I love seeing the comments. So appreciate the humor that you all have and the fun that you bring to these videos, and I love making them for you every day. It really is a pleasure to be here, and hopefully you all didn't take any offense to what I was saying about the historical title. I'm not meaning it to be offensive. I'm just saying hang in there, folks. I think good stuff is on the way, and I think I would be optimistic if I were you when it came to the historical Total War. And if you're one of those people that's bashing on Warhammer saying it's not for you and you haven't played it, play it. Wait for it to go on sale and play it. I think you'll be surprised. If you like Total War, I honestly would be surprised if you don't enjoy Warhammer. Remember this. I never played the tabletop game of Warhammer. I don't read about the lore, and it was never interesting to me until this game came out. But I'm telling you, this is a solid Total War title. It's really good. It's up to you, of course. I'm just saying, my opinion would be go play it. I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money, though, or do whatever it is you want. And like I said, I'm excited about a historical title, too. Anyway, if you all enjoyed this, make sure to subscribe. It helps me out a lot, and it also keeps you in touch with what the latest content is. I'll be releasing content daily, essentially. I mean, occasionally there's days when I miss, but you can expect more content daily. I have lots of good stuff coming for you this week, in fact. I appreciate you being here. Thanks to MSI for sponsoring the motherboard and this computer I'm recording with. They're fantastic. HeirofCarthage signing out for now. I will see you all soon.